creation of the National Health Service Commission that will effectively manage the affairs of health workers and collaborate with stakeholders to bring to an end the frequent doctor strike. Now, this is through, among others, enacting the Doctors and Interns Act, underscoring the importance of teamwork in implementing policies and bringing change in the health docket. Bentura Kwamboka with insights into the vetting process today.
I, Dr. Deborah Mlongo Barasa.
The CS nominee for Health has committed to see through an enactment of the Doctors and Interns Act that is set to end the frequent medical workers' strike that has been stifling service delivery in the healthcare system.
My question is that the instances where doctors have been going on strike have risen, with the recent one being the interns in July 2024. And we know what that means, especially to the Kenyan populace. I'd just like to know how, moving forward, you'd like to resolve this issue.
There's a Doctors Interns Act that I believe is ongoing, and I think that is one of the areas we can start with and strengthen. Equally, there are the return to work formulas that were given to the doctors, of which we can implement with support from Treasury and other sectors.
Appearing before a 20-member committee led by Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, Barasa has emphasized on the use of technology as well as collaborative efforts with stakeholders in the health sector as a strategic agenda in finding lasting solutions. As health unions continue to advocate for the establishment of a central organization that will handle all the matters within the healthcare systems, which have proved difficult to set in the previous leadership due to the constitutional requirement processes, Mlongo has pledged to support creation of the National Health Service Commission.
For the doctors at the national team, I believe it will be a consultative approach. I cannot make that decision myself.
What is your opinion, nominee minister? If you say consultative, what is your opinion as the leader? Do you support, you don't support, even before you do consultation? What is your input? What is your mind? Yeah, yes. You're running away from being personal.
As part of the doctors' fraternity, I support the National Health Service Commission.
With the fresh recruitment are the Social Health Authority, which will subject NHIF employees to a suitability assessment, expected to cut out quite a number of NHIF employees. Mlongo has promised to review the human resource capacity that will match the required gap in the Social Health Authority.
We'll need to review the HR capacity, the number of human resource that is required for the new insurance, but an intervention can be to match and move the HR, depending on their roles and responsibility, to the new area.
With the procurement and distribution of medical commodities irregularities, especially in KEMSA, which has long been plagued by corruption, leading to delays and shortage in health facilities, the nominee for the health docket has intimated on use of digital platforms and open tenders in curtailing cartels in the health sector.
KEMSA has been in the public domain. What I intend to do, again, is to strengthen the processes and procedures, and that one of the areas is looking at the digital platform, as well as having external bodies conduct routine auditing.
Dr. Mlongo, if approved, will be relied on to dispense her wealth of 18 years of experience in public health to bring the much-needed changes and enacting policies and regulatory frameworks in the Ministry of Health.
The next nominee.
Bentura Kwamboka, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Education Cabinet Secretary nominee Julius Ogamba said that teachers will have to breast for tougher times following nullification of the Finance Bill 2024, adding that if given the position, he will have a discussion with the teachers and their union to compromise on the implementation of their 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement. Ogamba has further vowed to undertake audits on various funding sources and bursaries to harness the funds and prevent duplication, as well as end cartelism. Now, he has further alluded that grade 9 could be domiciled in senior secondary schools in the event that there are not enough resources in junior schools. Harry Chimea reports.
I, Julius Migos Ogamba,
Audits, discussions and partnerships were all that were brought to the table by the Education CS nominee, Julius Ogamba, who upheld the work of his predecessor and former running mate in the 2022 Kisii gubernatorial race, Ezekiel Machogu.
You are the running mate of the former cabinet secretary, Ezekiel Machogu. Kenyans have been asking, is this the right person for the job?
And you are coming in during a time when there is complications on CBC, funding, teachers, and so on. And you have never worked in public service. So my question is, what motivates you now?
I indicated earlier, I've also doubled up in politics, running for parliament, and it's because I wanted to be or to work in the public sector and to assist a lot of the things that I see happening. So it's not true that I have no motivation to work in the public sector.
With austerity measures and even tougher budget cuts set to be occasioned by the nullification of the Finance Bill 2023, Ogamba only had an offer of discussions with the teachers and unions to compromise on the implementation of the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement.
These are Kenyans, and they'll be able to see the real situation on the ground and will agree to come up with a working solution, even if it is to defer some of their needs so that they do not go on strike.
His strategy of talks comes at a time when teachers have said enough is enough, and if the CBA is not implemented, then they will strike and not reopen for third term.
You said that the money being indicated as school fees.
He further called for an audit in the funds allocated towards free education and health funds, recommending the use of bonds and specific funds.
Nobody has done an audit to find out for sure how much, and then there's capitation, etc. How much is it that is going to this particular sector called education? Because it then happens that because there is no coordination, there is duplicity. Some people get more. Some people get more than 3-4 amounts coming from the various institutions.
And in regards to delayed disbursement of capitation.
So one of the things that may be brought to bear so that that problem is resolved would be agreeing with Treasury through Parliament that the sums of the budget of the ministry be ring-fenced because it's a sensitive ministry, so that it get released on time and released in totality.
If he assumes office, he alluded that grade 9 will be domiciled in senior secondary schools in the event that it is determined there are no resources in junior schools.
Where are you going to take those grade 9s? And we do not even have labs in the primary schools or JSS.
If we find that that philosophical position is not practical while you are in position with the facts and factors that will be provided at that point, then we got to make a decision because the children must learn. Yes. What I can say here is that I'm ready to take the decision that is in the best interest of the children.
He further added that the means testing instrument is still flawed and should be expanded to identify the exact level of funding needed, especially for vulnerable students under the new university funding model.
Tell us 3 major issues that...
In the event he takes office, he vows to ensure the fast tracking of teacher retooling and the streamlining of the required teacher courses.
The age is a 10-year-old.
And in regard to his net worth,
I'm worth 790 million of largely land, and I've got tea, I've got trees, and vehicles, farm equipment, and of course the income from the law firm.
Harriet Chimea, K24.
All right, now Lands and Housing Cabinet Secretary nominee Alice Wahome has vowed to crush land-grabbing cartels and fraudsters if approved in the docket, saying since she assumed the docket prior to her dismissal, progress has been made. Wahome, who was responding to questions during the vetting for the position by the National Assembly Appointments Committee, pushed for amendments on the Lands Act to allow the Chief Lands Registrar to have the final verdict on approving or thwarting land titles. Mariam Jahid tells us.
On the first day of vetting of nominated cabinet secretaries, the nominee for the Ministry of Lands, Public Service and Housing detailed why she should return to the ministry.
Subject to the approval, I'm willing to serve the country in that capacity.
Wahome, among other matters, acknowledged the existence of land fraudsters who do not respect title deeds, vowing to fight them to set an example for others. Looking ahead as a minister, she urged Parliament to amend the Land Amendment Act 2023, Section 79, to grant the authority to the Chief Registrar of Lands to annul or approve title deeds to tame doctoring of title deeds.
They are powerful cartels, they are managed cartels. Therefore, we need to change the law to some extent to be able to give clarity to what the registrar should be able to do in the event that there is a clear fraud.
A heated debate also emerged between Wahome and Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah regarding the Land Amendment Bill, Wahome finding it hard to defend the imposition of taxes on freehold lands.
We were proposing a levy or a charge on freeholds because freeholds within the cities then therefore are enjoying facilities and they are paying nothing.
Is the Cabinet Secretary expected to oversee housing issues? Wahome clarified why the government decided to invest 38 billion shillings on the affordable housing levy.
Allowing housing to people who previously cannot access and afford decent homes, then I would think that the country should take it and proceed with it.
When asked about the digital system for land records registration, Wahome said it will take 5 years to complete digital migration and would cost taxpayers 40 billion shillings.
Needed a better budget, a bigger budget, to the tune of between 35 and 40 billion to be able to secure all our records under the digitization system. And of course, the country needs to be able to have fiber networking in those other places.
MPs also poked holes on her work in relation with the National Lands Commission.
There is no problem or challenge, but we've not had any conflict or fight between my office and the office of the National Land Commission. In fact, I would say that I am having quite a cordial working relationship with the chairman and his commission. But that does not mean then we abscond or we abandon our duty, and therefore each has their mandate.
She promised to conduct a comprehensive assessment of the title deeds of various institutions allegedly lost and grabbed by land barons.
Titling of school titles, and we have covered close to 15,000. The total is about 31,000. So I think we are on course.
Wahome further admitted that her wealth has increased by 100 million shillings to 327 million shillings since she took office.
We have had some nominal growth.
Kido.
Mariam Jahid, K24, Nairobi.
Cheza kama wewe na Cheza Sita. Ushinde hadi mara 5,000 ya beti yako teke teke. Yes!